I envy the sand that met his feet. I'm jealous of honey he tasted sweet, of birds that hovered above his head, of spiders who spun their sacred web. I envy clouds formed from the seas that gave him cover from the heat, of a sun whose light could not compete with his, whose face did shine so bright that all was clear in blinding night. I envy sightless trees that gazed upon his form completely dazed, not knowing if the sun had risen, but felt themselves in unison with those who prayed and fasted too, simply because he told them to, with truth and kindness, charity, from God who gave such clarity. His mercy comes in one he sent to mold our hearts more heaven bent. I envy all there at his side who watched the turning of the tide as truth prevailed and falsehood fled and hope restored life to the dead. Men and women through him found grace to seek together God's noble face. I envy the cup that gave him drink, his thoughts that helped us all to think, to be one thought that passed his mind, inspiring him to act so kind. For me this world is not one jot, if I could simply be a thought, from him to God throughout the ages, as revelation came in stages. I pity all who think it odd to hear him say there is one God, or he was sent by God to men to hone their spirit's acumen. It's pride that blinds us from the sight, that helps good men to see his light. He taught us all to be God's slaves, and he will be the one who saves humanity from sinful pride. Muhammad has God on his side. So on this day be blessed and sing, for he was born to grace our spring with lilies, flowers, life's rebirth in a dome of green like his on earth. Ibn Jusay said was absolutely true. We could never say enough.
When the Prophet ﷺ went back to Fateh Makkah, and after 10 years in exile, today the Muslims are coming back, and the Muslims are the superpower. The Makkans don't even put up a fight. They don't even bother with a fight. And when they enter into Makkah, can you imagine all the memories, all the persecution comes back? By Allah, there was never a day where there was not a new persecution, not a morning with a new trial, not an evening with a new tribulation. Can you imagine? They enter into Makkah and they see the place where Sumayya radiallahu anha is martyred. The memory comes back. They see the place where Bilal is dragged through the streets of Makkah until his skin peels from his body. They see the place where Khubab is made to lie on a hot charcoal until his skin melts from his body. They see where they were boycotted for 2.5 years. All these memories come back. And one Sahabi, Sa'd radiyallahu anhu, in the heat of the moment, he says, Al-yawmu yawmul malhama. Today is the day of bloodshed. Today is the day of retribution, payback time. And the Prophet ﷺ heard him and he said, Sa'd, come here. He said, change that into Al-yawmu yawmul marhama. Today is the day of mercy. Today is the day of forgiveness. And then everybody gathers by the Kaaba. The Muslims are there, the Mushrikun are there, and they're shaking in their boots. They don't know what's gonna happen to them. And the Prophet ﷺ says to them, what do you expect of me? And they say, you are Kareem. Your father was Kareem. Your grandfather was Kareem. You're all honorable. And the Prophet ﷺ said, اذهبوا أنتم الطلقاء لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. He said, go, you are free. There is no reckoning upon you. After all those years of persecution, he said, go, you are free.